They're going to model recruitment efforts for the military around someone who refused to serve in the military. Get a load of this load of shit. Here's a tweet from NBC News. New Pentagon leaders are considering a new recruiting campaign that would encourage young people to honor the legacy of Charlie Kirk by joining the military, according to two officials familiar with the planning. You know, there's millions of people all across the country who actually served in the United States military, who actually volunteered to don the uniform of their country. In my case, it was the uniform of a United States Marine. And all these millions of people, they could be used to build a recruitment marketing campaign around. Instead, you go to Charlie Kirk, who had the opportunity to serve. He could have volunteered to be the patriot everyone claims he is on the right, and he did not. He was either too afraid, which is the likely answer, too much of a coward, or just not interested in serving his country in the United States Marine Corps or Army or Navy or Air Force. He could have even gone to the Coast Guard, but he did not. So what better way to enshrine his legacy as the coward, non-serving patriot that he was by organizing a recruiting campaign for the military around the non-military member. This is the headline from NBC News. Military leaders consider recruiting campaigns centered on Charlie Kirk. Possible slogans discussed include, Charlie has awakened a generation of warriors. There is talk of using Turning Point USA chapters as recruitment centers. This is scary. That the Department of War, the Department of Defense head, Pete Hegseth, the white Christian nationalist who is an absolute ass-kiss lapdog for Donald Trump, is now going to reshape our military, filling it to the brim. It's already an overly conservative entity, but he wants to fill it to the brim with young, radicalized men who followed and admired Charlie Kirk, the racist Christian nationalist bigot who never served. Pentagon leaders are now considering a new recruiting campaign that would encourage young people to honor the legacy of assassinated conservative activist Charlie Kirk by joining the military, according to two officials familiar with the planning. The idea would be to frame the recruiting campaign as a national call to service, the officials said. Possible slogans that the Pentagon leaders have discussed include, Charlie has awakened a generation of warriors, according to the officials. Anthony Tata, who serves as Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness, is leading the effort, the officials said. As part of the potential new campaign, Pentagon leaders are considering using chapters of Kirk's political organization, Turning Point USA, at schools across the U.S. as military recruitment centers, the officials said. That could include inviting recruiters to be present at events or advertising for the military at the chapters, one of them explained. That would mean the military is going to be used as a fundraising mechanism, as a funding mechanism for Turning Point USA. If they're paying Turning Point USA with advertising dollars. Seems like a weird mingling of executive branch and Department of Defense dollars in a racist, white supremacist organization like Turning Point USA, does it not? President Donald Trump has credited Kirk and Turning Point USA with helping him win the 2024 election. The officials did not know what the timing would be for rolling out a possible new recruitment campaign, and it's not clear if it will ultimately happen. The idea is facing resistance from some Pentagon leaders who have privately warned those working on the effort that such a campaign could be perceived as the military trying to capitalize on Kirk's death, the two officials said. Kirk, here we are, how many paragraphs into this article? Kirk did not serve in the armed forces. Do you think? It gets worse, if you can believe it. Trump officials have sought to pay public homage to Kirk. The day after the assassination, Vice President J.D. Vance, who was close to Kirk, flew from Washington, D.C. to Utah to escort Kirk's wife and his remains back to Arizona. The Kirk's casket was carried to Air Force Two by members of the military. And Trump, Vance, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and several other members of the cabinet are scheduled to speak at a memorial service for Kirk in Arizona on Sunday. Look, I don't have much of a problem with Charlie Kirk being transported via Air Force Two. It doesn't rub me the wrong way, I guess. But it does bother me that he's getting a full military honors and members of the United States military are forced to. They didn't volunteer. They're not asked if they want to carry the casket of a white supremacist, of a racist, Christian nationalist bigot in Charlie Kirk. The flag flew at half staff for an avowed racist. Those efforts have also extended to attempts to punish those who speak ill of Kirk or his assassination. As NBC News has previously reported, Hegseth last week told staff to actively search. NBC reported they used the word hunt, to hunt for any members of the military or others who work with the Defense Department who mocked or condoned Kirk's death so that they could be punished, and called on members of the public to report posts critical of Kirk coming from people associated with the military. See, it's not if you mocked or condoned his death. Even if you posted quotes of Charlie Kirk, even if you posted to your social media that it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment, said Charlie Kirk. If you posted that, you're at threat of losing your job if you work in or around the United States military or the Pentagon. And then finally here, asked for comment by NBC News, the Defense Department provided a statement from Chief Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell in which he said, quote, "The media is so desperate to attack this administration's success that they are now inventing lies about our recruitment efforts. Leadership matters, and under the strong leadership of President Trump and Secretary Hegseth, men and women are coming out in droves to serve this great nation." It's a tepid denial. Is it really a denial? You just attack the media, dipshit. You just attack the constitutionally protected free and fair press as a representative of the War Department. It is the worst timeline that we happen to live in, that they're going to model recruitment efforts for the military around someone who refused to serve in the military. I mean, it should come as no surprise or shock when our president, the commander-in-chief, is a draft-dodging coward, a physical weakling who, when his number was called to serve, refused and got out of it because of his bone spurs. Bone spurs that I have, by the way. It didn't stop me from serving in the United States Marine Corps for many years on active duty as an enlisted man. But I guess patriotism means something different to different folks, right? Anyway, what do you think? Please subscribe to this program before you comment. It is free to do so. And you can go over to Facebook and like and follow the Dollemore Daily page over there. Hopefully after today, we'll be at 10,000 and start building some reputation over there. After that, if you want to comment below, I guess if you don't want to subscribe and comment, you can still do that. You're the king of your domain. You're the queen of your domain. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. If you feel like supporting this work and helping produce these videos with $2 a month, you can do so on YouTube by clicking the join button below the video, or just on my channel, click join. And for $2 a month, you can help support this work, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast and help support there. I love and appreciate you very much. I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine and take care of one another.